What is Harmony? As the use of cryptocurrencies and blockchains have increased in the past few years, people have come to realize the limitations of popular blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And one of the major limitations is scalability. This is usually evident from the transaction speed and transaction fees. If you followed the blockchain space for a while now, or have watched our videos in the past, you probably already know that the problem of scalability is not new, and there are already a few blockchains and protocols that aim to solve it. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to Harmony, which differs a bit from other solutions. To make the network scalable, that is, fast and low cost, there is often a compromise with its security and decentralization. Harmony 1, on the other hand, balances three critical pillars of a blockchain: scalability, security, and decentralization. Welcome to Crypto Skills, the channel that makes all the complicated crypto topics easy to understand. We're here to make you smarter by explaining complex topics in an intuitive and entertaining way. By the end of this video, you'll be able to explain how Harmony 1 works, even to your grandma. Let's get to it then. What is Harmony and why should you care? Before we get to it, it's always important to understand the brains and money behind any crypto solution. Harmony is founded by Stephen Tse, who is also its CEO. He has a PhD from the University of Pennsylvania, specializing in cryptographic protocols and type theory. He has worked with Microsoft, Google, and Apple in the past, before founding Harmony in 2017. The Harmony founding team comprises 12 people, with 7 of them being former employees at Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. So, we can agree that there are pretty great brains behind Harmony. In 2019, Harmony raised $18 million from an array of investors, including Hong Kong's Leninscap VC, Australia's BCA Fund, Singapore's Univalues Associates, and Silicon Valley's Consensus Capital, among others. So along with brains, Harmony has the backing of smart VC money too. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's understand what Harmony is and what it is not. Harmony is not a blockchain. It is in fact a layer 2 scaling solution for the Ethereum blockchain. What does that mean? Well, the Ethereum blockchain is layer 1, but high gas fees and slowness of Ethereum have led to the development of layer 2 technologies, like Harmony. Layer 2 refers to a technology that helps scale blockchain applications by handling transactions off the main layer 1 Ethereum chain. So, how does Harmony achieve this scalability then? Well, there are 2 factors which make a blockchain scalable. First is faster throughput. That is, the more transactions are processed within a time period, the better the scalability. And the second is the low latency. That is, the lesser the time it takes to finalize the block, the better the scalability. You can imagine the blockchain as a department store. The store with 5 checkout lanes processes more transactions. That is, it has faster throughput than the store with 1 checkout lane. Add to that a cashier. The efficient cashier takes less time to finalize the order, and consequently, it has lower latency than that of the lazier cashier. Harmony brings both: more checkout lines as well as efficient cashiers. This makes for more throughput and lower latency, which boils down to better scalability. For increasing the throughput, it uses a mechanism called sharding. If you don't know it already, there are already a bunch of blockchains that use sharding mechanisms. At this point, I'll recommend you to check out our video on Near Protocol that interestingly uses this sharding mechanism and other technologies to make itself infinitely scalable, which is a pretty huge deal. Alright then, if you aren't aware, let me explain in a simple terms what sharding is. Usually, in the blockchain networks like Ethereum, every computer in the network needs to process every single transaction. Sharding basically is a fancy word for splitting the network into parts so that it can be processed simultaneously by a group of validators instead of the entire network being processed by each validator one by one. So in our example, it's splitting one very long checkout lane into several checkout lines so that the transactions can be processed faster. So this increases the throughput of Harmony. But what makes it really interesting and unique is that the latency of Harmony is way lower than others. In fact, it only takes 1 second, and at the most, only 2 seconds, to finalize a block. If that doesn't impress you, let me give you a reference point. It takes Ethereum 12 to 14 seconds, and Bitcoin a massive 10 minutes to finalize a block. This amazingly low latency of Harmony is thanks to two fascinating technologies. The first technology is validator signature aggregation. This technology is exactly what its name suggests, but let me explain that with an example. You can think of it this way. You craved pizza on a nice Sunday evening and placed your order with Domino's. Your neighbor overheard, and he also craved pizza and placed an order with Domino's. Now, since both of these orders are to be sent to a similar place, it is much more efficient for Domino's to deliver them together by using a single delivery boy instead of dispatching separate delivery boys for each order. In the blockchain, there are validators who validate the transaction to be true. These validators put their signature and send it over the network, which proves that the transaction has been validated. Now, interestingly, each validator can be processing multiple transactions at the same time. So usually the validator sends out separate messages for each transaction validated. But the validator signature aggregation technology allows the validator to send one aggregated signature over one message. This significantly reduces the number of messages passed around in the network, resulting in a 50% plus reduction in network usage. And then the second technology is block proposal pipelining. As difficult as its name sounds, this technology is pretty simple to understand. Basically, the blocks in the blockchain can be added once the previous block is finalized. This is fundamental to the blockchain. But the block proposal pipelining technology lets the network start processing the next block in the queue once 2/3 of the signatures are received on the previous block. That is, once the previous block is almost validated, the network starts processing the next block. So, the balance, 1/3 signature on the first block and the initial processing of the second block happens simultaneously, which increases the processing speed. The combination of these technologies makes Harmony scalable. But this claim of scalability is not new. Due to the limitations of Ethereum and Bitcoin, a bunch of solutions have emerged to make the blockchain scalable. But often, these solutions achieve scalability at the expense of security and decentralization, which are fundamental to blockchain technology. Harmony, however, does not lose its focus. It ensures the balance of scalability, security, and decentralization. So, how does it ensure security and decentralization? Well, it uses a version of a proof-of-stake mechanism called effective proof-of-stake. There are already several blockchains that use a proof-of-stake mechanism. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I got you. The proof-of-stake is an alternative to the proof-of-work approach of Bitcoin. In simple terms, proof of work is a competitive approach to verifying transactions, where the miners earn bitcoins by verifying transactions and blocks. This slows down the network and is also environmentally unsustainable because of the computational energy required. In proof of stake, however, the validators, which are equivalent to the miners of Bitcoin, are selected randomly based on the coins staked by them with the network for verifying the transactions. In return, you earn the rewards for validating the transaction, but there's a minimum limit of coins that must be staked to be a validator. So, what if you don't have enough coins to stake? Well, in the delegated proof of stake, you can delegate your coins to other validators and earn a share of rewards earned by the validator. That is a pretty standard proof of stake mechanism and is used by several blockchains. So, what makes Harmony's mechanism as an effective proof of stake? Well, it is how it distributes the rewards to validators. Usually, a validator with more coins staked gets more rewards. However, in Harmony, the validators are rewarded in proportion to their effective stake, which is calculated by a specific formula. Without boring you with the math, let me tell you what this means. Essentially, the validator having a large number of coins gets more rewards by staking it in several shards of the network separately than by staking it in a single shard. The objective is that each shard of Harmony's sharded blockchain needs to contain a relatively large number of validators with equal or similar stakes. Why? Well, otherwise, a validator with a large amount of stake may overtake a single shard, which is a centralization and security risk. In addition to the block rewards used to incentivize good behavior, Harmony also uses something called the slashing mechanism to deter misbehavior and potential attacks. If the Harmony notices misbehavior or downtime which goes against its rules, it penalizes the validator in terms of slashing his stake or not letting it become a validator in the future. This is how Harmony uses both rewards and penalties to ensure that the network is decentralized and secure. So, where does Harmony stand ultimately? Harmony is still at a budding stage, and continuous improvements are being made to it. Its vision of high scaling ability coupled with security and decentralization seems to be one of the greatest solutions for developers who want to build applications on it. Harmony has its internal token called One, which is used for paying rewards, staking, governance, and voting. Harmony currently processes around 2,000 transactions per second, which is pretty good, considering Ethereum can process only approximately 15 transactions per second. However, Harmony believes it'll process 10 million transactions per second in the long run. Harmony's networks rarely become clogged because of its high number of transactions per second. As a result, it doesn't have high gas fees, which are currently a fraction of a penny. Apart from this, Harmony's technology has the power to share data across multiple blockchain networks by creating bridges. Harmony's bridge, Horizon, allows cross-chain interoperability with Ethereum. This means that the assets like coins, tokens, and NFTs can be transferred between the two networks easily. Harmony's also made bridges with other chains like Binance. So, do you believe that Harmony's technologies will give it an edge over others? Or are there any better solutions that are even better than Harmony? Let us know in the comments. We read every comment and love to know your opinion. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button to show your appreciation for our efforts and consider subscribing so you don't miss our next bite-sized explainer video on crypto. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.